Hello, everyone, and welcome to Altitude Day 3. Today, we're going to take a look at overcoming SaaS sprawl with the power of automation. I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Chelsea.
Hey, my name is Chelsea Stevenson, and I am a senior implementation specialist and a member of our expert advisory group, where we are responsible for new customer implementations, building customized solutions, and helping to enable customers to get the most out of BetterCloud. And you, Prerna.
Everyone, I'm Michael Prano. I'm a strategic solution engineer here at BetterCloud. I've been with the organization for almost 7 years now. My job is to really help customers and prospective customers understand how they can leverage the BetterCloud technology to better solve their business challenges. Moving forward, a brief agenda for today's overview. We're going to talk to you about the BetterCloud Discover module very specifically. We're going to go through some of the key challenges that you might face in your environment when it comes to uncovering the different types of SaaS applications out there and how we can help. And then lastly, Chelsea's going to take us through a great platform demonstration so you can see exactly how this would work within the BetterCloud platform. Without further ado, we're going to jump directly into the BetterCloud Discover module. When it comes to BetterCloud Discover, the goal is to really give you centralized visibility into all the different SaaS applications out there within your environment. This is going to help you uncover each and every SaaS application, but not only that, we'll give you insight into ways you can potentially save time and money, helping you understand where there might be unused licenses, potentially redundant applications, and ways to free up and consolidate. And then we also help our customers when it comes to mitigating security concerns, helping them see exactly the different types of permissions these applications have access to, and helping you set up policies around that. Really, when it comes to SaaS identification, the challenge is understanding what SaaS applications are in use and by whom. When we look at this year, 2021, and we're polling organizations around the world, we found that on average, IT teams are managing around 110 SaaS applications. Now, looking back a year ago, 2020, that number was about 80. That means that's almost a 40% increase in the number of applications IT is now managing. And looking back even further to 2017, that number was only 16 SaaS applications, a 7x increase from where we were just 4 years ago. With the BetterCloud Discover module, today we've helped our customers identify over 40,000 different types of SaaS applications out there that have access to their environment. When looking at this information, we can see, of course, that there are, of course, redundant applications in any given environment. And to no surprise, we found that marketing performance applications were some of the most common type apps out there, often very redundant in a given customer's environment. And the challenge is really proactive app management. It's being able to understand and track what applications are risky, what applications have access to your core SaaS applications, and what does that access actually look like? There's really no ways when using a lot of the native functionality available in these applications to automatically remove risky or unwanted applications, and that can be very challenging. Looking at the same data set, we have found that over 20,000 applications across our customer base have access to their file system. That is, read or write access to their primary file sharing applications. This can be a huge risk from a security perspective. If the SaaS application, the organization is a small one without the appropriate security practices, if that vendor gets compromised, that means your user data is potentially at risk. At the same time, this is a great way for malicious applications to get access to your information through phishing attempts and other means. This is a very easy method for malicious folks to come in, get access to your information without you ever knowing about it. And we can see, while not to the same extent, the same issue occurs with users' email, where over 3,000 applications within our customer base have direct access to users' email, read or write access, the ability to read all emails, the ability to write emails on behalf of end users. And so when this is unmanaged, when you have no policies around this can truly be risky. But don't worry, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We have great ways to help you out. BetterCloud actually provides a very comprehensive SaaS Ops assessment that can help you understand exactly what your SaaS portfolio looks like. This assessment can help you understand the number of applications in your environment. Of those applications, which ones are the most risky? Where are ones you need to start removing immediately? And then also opportunities to save on costs, whether that's through identifying unused licenses or redundant applications. These are all different insights that we provide through this assessment so that you can be better equipped to start to establish different types of policies around application usage. Without further ado, I'll pass it off to Chelsea now.
Thanks so much. So now that we've seen some of the data and the challenges, here's where we have some recommendations. You'll want to start by auditing your apps list, and you can actually see the apps grid right from this picture. I'll show you how to review your apps grid, gain more granular insight with the app details page, and then finally, I'll show you some popular automations that will help to keep your environment safe. Here we are looking at the apps grid. This can be found by selecting applications on the left nav. Up at the top, we're given the statuses of the applications in our environment. So all the way to the left, I'm going to see the new applications that I've not yet set the status for. And then of those statuses, I have the option to set that as in review. If I'm still deciding whether this will be a sanctioned application, I can set an application as unsanctioned, sanctioned, and then we're also given the list of those total applications we've discovered within this BetterCloud instance. So in this case, I can actually click into one of these applications, these statuses. So here I'm listed those 15 applications that are in review. That's then going to give me the ability to maybe review these further and then set the status for that application. So in this example, I might want to add in some more columns just so I can see even more about each of these applications. So I'm going to set integration and permissions. From this grid, I can now see the application names for these in review applications, the categories for them, the list of the users we've seen have connected, the status we currently have set, which integration we discovered this by. So in this list, we see some are discovered by Google SSO, 365, Dropbox, and then we're also going to say how we discovered. Did we discover by SSO, OAuth, when was it discovered, and then what permissions were given with this application. And then I hover over that and I can see actually which permissions were given with that application. Now, if I want to see even more specific details, I can actually scope this down to the application and now see the application details page. From this, I'm given information about the company, URL. I can see some notes where I can actually fill in some information myself. I can set the owner. In this case, I've actually set myself as the owner. I can see when we discovered it by, how we discovered it, which was OAuth, by Google. And I can actually see similar apps that have been discovered within that environment. So we see for Cloud App, for example, they are in the category of visualization software. And two similar applications we've seen is Lucidchart and Miro. So this can be really helpful, especially with examples like those project management apps, where you're going to find quite a few in your environment, and you may want to save on license costs by determining that sanctioned project management app you do want to use at your company. By clicking into the users, I can see which users have connected into Cloud App. In this example, I may want to take a specific action. So after looking into this further, this may be an application we decide we do not want to sanction. So I'm going to click here, and this is where I have that option to set the status of it. So I'm going to say this is an unsanctioned application, press that check mark, and now this is set as unsanctioned. And this is where I can either build an automation into it, which I'm going to show a little later, or I can take some one-off actions. So now this is how we're going to be able to automate these going forward. So for example, we're going to be looking at the different statuses we can use. So here we can say, when we're looking at a when trigger in the workflow builder, which ones do we want to use as a trigger? We have the when conditions for new application discovered and new application user discovered. These are going to be really helpful. New application discovered, we can actually look for each new application. Anytime we see one of those new applications, that's where you can be notified to audit them. Another trigger you're going to have as well is that new application user discovered. That's going to be helpful when you want to be notified when that new user is being added to an application. Next, we can scope these down even further with the if conditions. You're going to be given the options for category, which integration did they integration we discover that by, what was that application name, and what scope do we set up that for? So these will be helpful, for example, to build workflows such as I want to be notified when we have a new user that has been added to an unsanctioned app. And this is an example of what that's going to look like. So right here, we have a new application user is discovered. And that's where we see a new user has been added to an unsanctioned app. And this was discovered with a Google integration. Because it was discovered with Google, we're going to want to revoke OAuth with that revoke OAuth access for that user, and then send that user a notification. In this case, we're going to send them an email. And this is what it can look like. So here we have a new user found email. So I say this email is to myself. We've noticed that you've recently accessed Audacity Online. This is not a sanctioned application. Please notify IT. And this can let me know not only did I have my access revoked, but this can remind me that I don't have access to this in the future, and I know what to do if I need access to that application. Another example we can use is when we want to be notified about a new application. So we could say we've noticed that a new application user is in an app with an admin scope, for example, or if we have permissions, specifically in this example for Office 365, giving user directory and file permissions that would be risky for our environment. And here we have new application discovered. This is giving file, user, and directory access. So we immediately want to be notified of this new application because this is going to be a bit more high risk than other applications in our environment. So we're going to create a fresh service ticket in this example. But for any of these, you do have the option of replacing this fresh service ticket with whatever ticketing system you want to have within BetterCloud. Some examples we have here, Jira Service Desk. You could send an email or a Slack message to make this fit to exactly what you'd want in your environment. Now let's see how we build one of those workflows in practice. So here we're going to want to start by creating a workflow for new risky. Here we're going to want to set the when trigger to be that new application discovered. So I'm going to go to BetterCloud here on the left. And then I want to select that new application discovered. Next, I want to specifically have this to be for those specific scopes that we're concerned about. So I want to say if the application gives, and this is where I can actually set multiple. So I know I want to set 3, so I'm going to use the or condition as well. So I'm going to say if it's this admin scope or this admin scope, or if it is this admin scope. And then on the right, all I have to do is select which those scopes are. So in this case, I want it to be for files, usery, and directory permissions. So I'm just going to type that in here. And these can all be found by looking at your apps grid as well, just to get some insight on what is most important for what you're going to be automating in the future as well. So next, what actions I want to take when this happens? In this case, I want to be notified. So I'm going to actually use this BetterCloud email, which is going to open up a ticket. So I'm going to say I want to ticket that's saying it's 2 issues at bettercloud.com. It is, I want to include in the subject that application name as well as description. So I'm going to be able to pull in those dynamic values about those applications that trigger this event. So it's going to be able to pull in that application name. So in this case, maybe at the beginning, I'm going to put application name, then it's going to fill in that dynamically. And it's going to let me know this is a risky app. Another thing I want to do as well, because we know this is higher risk, I'm going to automatically set that status for this application. So I want to change the app status for this. And for the application that triggers this, I want to set that app status to in review, because this is not going to be, this is specifically one we want to check out because it has those risky scopes. And then finally, if I wanted to notify myself personally, I could add that as well. But I think this will let me cover everything I need to know specifically for this application. And then we can kind of see what that looks like as well.
Thank you, Chelsea, for that great demonstration. Really, a few takeaways we want to leave you with. First and foremost, there's major obstacles when it comes to identifying different SaaS applications in your environment and really being proactive about that. But the BetterCloud's Discover module can help you gain the visibility that you need. We can help you easily regain control over your ever-expanding SaaS portfolio. And remember, ask your BetterCloud representative about a SaaS assessment to help you better understand what your SaaS landscape looks like, uncover all the different types of applications in your environment, and start to identify different ways you can consolidate and regain control.